Joao Neves. Oh, Joao Neves. Joao Neves. Joao Neves. Joao Neves. Joao Neves. You are a jewel. Joao Neves. You are who you think you are. Obrigado. Obrigado, Joao Neves. Because today you rescued us like you nearly rescued us against Bayern. Obrigado. Muchas gracias. Thank you very much. Merci beaucoup. That's all I have to say. And I need to start the video off with that. Giving my flowers to Joao Neves. 94th minute winner. And that's 2 games in a row now in the league where PSG get a 90-plus minute added time winning header by a Portuguese player from a corner kick, off an assist from 𝙀𝙀𝙖𝙀𝘾𝘼𝙎𝙀. We did it. We did it. But now, to get back onto more serious matters, les gars, mais c'était quoi ce match? We were whack, trash, doo-doo, dog water. On était gaze, on était nul, mais d'une nullarité pas possible. I am not satisfied with the victory. This is one of those games, you take the 3 points and nothing else. Les gars, on était gaze. We were trash. In fairness, we started off the game decently well. I thought we were okay in the first half, and obviously a heavily rotated lineup as per usual. You know, Nuno Mendes, no Hakimi, no Doué, no Dembele, no this. We had a lot of changes. However, les gars, still, the second half though, c'était une catastrophe. But we'll address those things in tandem. But I think I need to start this game off by addressing the elephant in the room, and that is 𝙀𝙀𝙖𝙀𝙀. And now, ladies and gentlemen, I'm officially putting it out there. We need to start an investigation on this guy. Because for the longest time, I've been here defending him. But now, it's starting to become really difficult to defend him. Yet again, looking suspect, looking shaky. And in fairness to him, I'll go and say that one of the 2 goals, I think, is less on his fault. He's still culpable. But the first one, absolutely. But before we get to that, again, in the end here, it looks a lot better. He's out of 5.6 overall. And he came out towards the end. He did have good opportunities where he came out for crosses and whatnot. But at one point, he was at a 4.7. Same as the keeper over here. But today, les gars. Je préfère en rire. I'm playing the insanity card. I'd rather laugh about it. The first goal that we go and concede. Again, it's an easy ball. We get, first and foremost, before I go and say anything about 𝙀𝙀𝙖𝙀𝙀, I think we do need to go and put into context our defense. Because why are we getting done by high lines? We're not Barca. This is not Hansi Flick FC. We're not Offside Trap FC. Why are we getting done with our high line? Like, we don't usually get that. 2 balls, the 2 goals they scored were long balls from basically their center backs or their DM, straight forward, straight through balls, and they're through. Twice. Like, yes, of course, you can say 𝙀𝙀𝙖𝙀𝙀 this, but we cannot be suffering chances like that, so open, being so open like that. And I want to go and say that that is as a result of the fact that we didn't have like our starting, back 4 pairing and whatnot, but it was still too easy. It was still far, far too easy. But to address first and foremost the first goal, I think that, yes, in fairness, I want to be as gracious as I can to 𝙀𝙀𝙀𝙀 to begin with. Typically, when you go and you have a one-on-one with your keeper, right? The attacker is always going to be favored. However, I think there's so much more 𝙀𝙀𝙀𝙀 can do. He can come out quicker, and he can actually make an attempt with his foot. It looks like his foot got stuck again, similarly as it was against Strasbourg. And that cannot be happening. Like, come on, buddy. Sort your feet out there. Sort your feet out there. I think he needs to do much better on the first one. The second goal, in fairness, I want to go and say, the more and more I look at it, I'm not even sure if he's truly the culprit here, because on the one hand, it looks bad. He's in the middle of nowhere. He's in no man's land. He's not attacking the player, trying to force it, but he's not deep in his net either. But at the same time, too, it's a great chip. It's a ridiculous finish. And Maitland-Niles might try that, 15 times, miss 16 of them. So there's that aspect. But still, like, when you go and you look at it, on the replay, he just looks lost. He looks lost. Like, give that guy a map. He does not know where he is. He just does not seem confident. In fairness, with the ball at his feet, he looks fine. He looks comfortable. But in the art of goalkeeping, keeping the ball out of your net, tending to the goal. Voilà, les gars, c'est compliqué. C'est compliqué, qu'est-ce que So, Chevalier, voilà, Lucas. It better be Lucas Chevalier, not Lucas Chandelier. Voilà, faut s'appliquer, là, faut s'appliquer. But I'm not coming off the train yet. I'm still there. We're supporters. I'm a PSG supporter. I back you from day 1 till day 0. But this is a warning sign. The last couple of performances, I let them go. But now, But I low-key need to start an investigation, internal investigation only, right? Like internal investigation, we'll sort that out within it. We need you back at the top. But apart from that, the goals that we scored on our end, Vitinha, an excellent pass to Warren Zaire-Emery in the 26th minute to open the scoring up for us. Vitinha, once again here, I think was given man of the match. He had 9.0 match rating, 117 passes, 2 assists in the game. Generational performance here from Vitinha. I think there's no, I don't know what else he needs to go and do to prove that he's the best midfielder in the world. This is now week in, week out. I think already now, if I'm not mistaken, he's already on 10 GA this season. He had 10 GA in all of last season. And again, obviously people are going to say, oh, why are we counting GA for this? Of course, yes, GA is not the most important thing for a 6 or a deeper line midfielder. However, if you have a midfielder who's deeper like that and is getting those GA and is also bringing in the other aspect of the field, it counts even more, right? In the same sense as that a center back, you're not expected to go and score. But if you have a center back who's scoring, 10 goals a season, that is a plus. That's not normal. That's extraordinary. It's beyond the ordinary. And Vitinha is not only getting you controlling the tempo, dictating the pace of the game, getting 117 passes, 9-point match ratings, barely losing the ball, dictating play, getting crazy amounts of touching, creating chances, playing long balls, winning the ball up in possession for the second goal, but is also able to go and get you crucial goals, get you play good passes, and still control the tempo of the game. He's just such a complete midfielder, and PSG looks so different without him. So Vitinha, once again, what a player. Joao Neves here today. I thought he was excellent today. Got us the head goal. Fantastic again for today. I thought Fabian Ruiz today was a bit sluggish, and that's more so with the team, especially overall in the second half. But I say today that PSG's best players were definitely, I'd go and say, Vitinha definitely was up there. I thought Warren had an excellent game today. Won the most duels here. Scored an absolutely brilliant goal. Was playing out of position, you can go and say, but was sort of inverting as a midfielder. And I thought 𝙬𝙬 was pretty decent as well. For today. Apart from that, a difficult performance overall. I thought it was a Barney got completely sent. 𝙎𝙊𝘾𝘼𝙎𝙾, we've already spoken about him. Pacho, not the greatest performance today. Lucas Hernandez, I thought he was asleep for the 𝙀𝙊𝘾𝘼𝙎𝙾 goal. And overall, it's more so emblematic of the goal, the way that PSG played. But again, so I mentioned the first goal was a brilliant ball played by Vitinha over to Zaire-Emery. Brilliant through ball. I was thinking, is somebody going to go and give him an option? But Warren just decided to go in all alone. Brilliant strike, just roofs it. There is no keeper in the world saving that. Roofs it, 1-0 PSG. I thought at first, maybe is it offside? This time the other. Luckily, it wasn't. After that, there was the Lyon and subsequently equalized with, the ball, easy ball through from there. I think the center back played it through. I think Warren is kind of falling asleep as well there. They could play it through. And then obviously 𝙎𝙊𝘾𝘼𝑎𝑙 doesn't come out, so on and so forth, 1-1. Okay, fine. But then afterwards, we go and get the second goal, the Vitinha, where he pickpockets, Tessman, and then 𝙬𝙬𝘾𝑼𝑎𝑙 goes and scores. Not gonna lie, I thought on initial viewing, on the first viewing, I thought it was a foul. So when he scored it, I was like, okay, yes, but I think there's a foul there. And not gonna lie, on second viewing and viewing it afterwards, all I'm saying is, if that happened against PSG, I would be absolutely fuming. And I'd be wanting a foul. So I personally think it was a foul, but hey, I'm not here to complain about it. So again, it just goes further as a narrative. I don't think PSG were good enough today. And honestly, you can go and say that a win today is a bit flattering for us. But anyways, we got that. But then afterwards, obviously, we went into halftime, 2-1 up. But then afterwards, early in the second half, in the 50th minute, 5 minutes in the second half, Maitland-Niles goes off another chip again, deep from Lyon, an easy ball straight down the middle. Maitland-Niles goes, chips the keeper, generational finish, brilliant finish. But again, it's poor marking by Hernandez. I don't know where 𝙎𝙊𝘾𝘼𝑎𝑙 is, what he's doing and what line he is in, but it's poorly defended by us. And that gets us 2-2. And luckily, we push. In the end, Tagliafico gets a red card. In the 93rd minute for, basically slapping Kang Lee. And Kang Lee subsequently afterwards, we put in the ball, it goes out for a corner, and off that subsequent corner, we put the ball in and we score. Get the job done. But for me, the biggest thing I want to talk about is more so our performance overall. I thought in the first half, I thought we were actually pretty decent. And I actually want to go and show this by, when you're looking at just generally speaking the stats, obviously stats aren't everything, but in the first half, dominated possession as per usual, had the higher XG, more shots to target, more big chances created. I thought in the first half, even though we weren't at our best by any means, I thought we were pretty decent and pretty okay. However, you compare that to the second half where, okay, you still had most of the possession, but now XG of 0.32 to 0.25, you got outshot, you had one more shot on target and one more big chance created. You didn't create nearly as much in that second half, and Lyon were much better. And honestly, I think that these stats actually kind of flatter us in fairness, because in that second half, oh my goodness, we were dog water. I think a better thing would be to go and show the momentum in the second half. And again, it's not showing it here, and it's kind of going against what I want to say. But in the second half, for most of it, yes, here it's showing that PSG, had moments here, but there were spells here where PSG was really, we were under siege. We were struggling to Lyon, and this is a Lyon team who, by the way, they themselves are out with a lot of injuries. So if I go and I look at Lyon, for example. Paulo Fonseca, their manager, is obviously out. He's sidelined because of his 9-man touchline ban or whatnot. School, he's got a muscular injury. You've got Malik Fofana, who's out. You got a bunch of their players who normally would start, Orel and so on and so forth, that are also out, and they've had to put a pretty heavily rotated lineup. And in fairness, I want to go and give my kudos to Lyon. Despite all of that, they played very well. They went to PSG and played them. They didn't play some fugazi low block and whatnot. They took the game to PSG. They pressed us. In fairness, it's not like their press was, we were able to play out of their press, but they specifically caused us problems on the counterattack. And I think that's perhaps, now that I'm starting to go and see, one of PSG's weaknesses is that when we do not play teams that, for example, try to keep the ball and play it out, and that are teams that are a bit more direct, and this goes back to Chelsea, for example, in the Club World Cup final, Botafogo in the Club World Cup final, Bayern even, both in the Club World Cup quarterfinals, as well as their last game against Bayern. When we play teams that are direct and are perfectly okay with skipping a couple lines and just playing it long, we struggle a lot more because we're not used to it. And I think that's something that we really need to sharpen up about, because if we don't win that first ball, because our midfield is a lot shorter with Vitinha and João Neves in there, we lose those first and second balls, which means that they have a pretty good opportunity going forward. And I think that needs to be something that we fix up quickly, because otherwise, teams are going to just start starting their tapes. And similarly with Barcelona, with their high line and whatnot, being able to time that, if you're able to go and see that, okay, how did Bayern beat PSG? How did Botafogo? How did Chelsea beat PSG? How did Lyon cause us problems, so on and so forth? Even going back to the game against Strasbourg, a lot of the times, it's not like they're trying to play out intricate passes or whatnot, because with that, PSG can then install their press, and our press, it's insufferable. It's very, unless you're a Barcelona or a Bayern or one of these best teams in the world, you're not going to be able to play out of it. And so as such, skipping a couple lines, going direct, playing a long ball to your striker and whatnot, or playing balls through the channels is going to hurt PSG so much more. And I think that's something that we really need to fix up on. But even other than that, in this game today, I thought, especially in the second half though, I go and I look like it was just poor all around. Disgusting first half. We couldn't keep the ball. Touches were going outside. Defending wise, we weren't good. We were stuffing too many opportunities. We had so many last-ditch tackles. Even the shots that they actually ended up having, a lot of these were last-ditch block tackles, so on and so forth. In fairness, we defended them, decently well, apart from the 2 goals that we conceded. But we're under too much pressure with all due respect to Lyon, this Lyon team. So we need to do much better with that. But listen, as I said previously, for me, this is a game where you take the 3 points, and that's basically it. Other than that, this game is one you forget about. You go and you try to focus on the things where you were not good enough, where you were not good, and try to improve upon that. The one, I guess, silver lining, if I want to try to be somewhat optimistic, is that when I go and I look at the PSG lineup, I go and I look at Warren Zaire-Emery's out of position. You got Hernandez is not a starter. You could argue Zabarni's not normally there, but okay, I'll go and say that this is pretty strong. You got our best midfield, but then the biggest difference is up front. You're with Mayulu and you're with Lee. I thought Mayulu today, in fairness, did not have the greatest of games. Didn't really get involved in the game much. Didn't really get touches on the ball. If I go and look overall, he got what? How many touches does he get? 26 touches. Didn't touch the ball much. Didn't really get involved in the game nearly as much as you would expect him to go and do so, especially he's not like a Haaland who just stays up front there and doesn't do anything. But he's a player who comes into midfield, and despite all that, still only got 22 touches. Yeah, it's, again, this game and Nice game, I think the Nice game is slightly different, because in that game, I just think Nice just played anti-football. This game, Lyon took it to us. They played us. They had injuries of their own. And honestly, you could say that us winning is kind of a flattening scoreline for us. So yeah, that's it. But hey, we go into the international window, top of the league, top 5 in the Champions League. So things could be far worse. And now the biggest thing is, let's just hold this and let's improve upon our performances for the upcoming Champions League games as well as league games, to try and put ourselves in a good position, such that when we get all our players back, Hakimi, Mendes, Doué, Dembele, all these players, then when they're back, we'll be fully fit and ready to go and hit the peaks that we were at last season. But yeah, that's about it. Thank you guys very much for tuning into the video. Thank you to everybody that was in the live watch along as usual. It's been a pleasure as always. And I always enjoy having you guys on there. And it's something that I enjoy doing and I want to try doing a bit more of. So yeah, make sure you stay tuned for that and make sure you guys are on the lookouts for whenever I have streams planned. With that, guys, that's about it for today. Thank you guys very much for tuning into the video as always. And remember, stay safe, stay kind, and stay blessed. Godspeed.